to another episode of Coach Me. I'm one of your hosts in Nashville, Tennessee, Vic Sorrell.
And I'm Candice Rooney, joining you from Austin, Texas.
And today we have the pleasure of welcoming founder and CEO of Radiant Coaches Academy, Dez Stephens.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
Nice to be here.
Wonderful to see you always. I know that you have coached for a long time and you train coaches and inspire coaches. And so the two questions that I have right off the bat are, number one, how did coaching find you? And number two, what is a challenge that nearly everyone you coach faces?
Okay, I love that coaching found me. And it's usually that case that someone doesn't say, I want to be a coach someday. It's more like you discover what coaching is. You're like, oh my gosh, there's a name for this thing that I didn't even know I wanted to do until I knew what it was. So about 16 years ago, I was at work. I had a marketing position at a nonprofit. Loved my job. I've always had such good luck with my jobs. And I heard her say to me, this is a very respected colleague, by the way, like whatever she said to me, I really took, with weight. And she said, you would be an amazing life coach. And I laughed. I was like, why? Like, why me? And she said, well, you're resourceful, you're compassionate, you're generous, you're so kind. You'd be amazing. And I said, but I'm a terrible listener. So wouldn't a life coach have to listen? And she said, well, I think you're going to learn that if you go to life coach training school. And I was like, oh, sign me up, because literally that was my greatest flaw. I have a twin sister. I did not speak a lot as a child. She kind of spoke for me a lot. And then I, as my husband says now, I'm making up for lost time. So I tend to talk a lot. I like to be heard. I need to be heard. I'm that kind of a person. So I thought, even if I just learned how to listen better, that would be worth the training alone. So I signed up right away. I became a coach, certified the next year. So I've been coaching professionally for 15 years now, and I absolutely love it. It just keeps getting better and better. So the second question, what was your second question? Oh, the challenge. Okay, I'll just speak for 2020 because I do see some trends and different years kind of bring up different challenges, but I do coach internationally and I do see a common denominator. Not necessarily because of the pandemic this year, but this year alone in 2020, I have noticed that a common challenge is, I don't know if I belong in this relationship. So for example, I have a coaching client who I've been coaching him for about 5 years now. And that sounds like a long time, but coaching is on and off. So when I first started coaching him, I believe I coached him for about 6 weeks. And then I didn't coach him for like a year. And then he comes back around when he needs support. And in this case, relationship coaching is what I was doing with him. So at the time when I met him, I was phone coaching him from another state. And he said, here's my challenge. My challenge is my ex-wife and I have some custody issues with our kids. My ex-girlfriend I'm still in love with, and my current girlfriend, I kind of accidentally had her move in. And so I'm questioning, do I belong in the current relationship I'm in? I don't think so, because I'm still in love with my ex. And I feel like I have women issues is kind of what he was saying. So here we are 5 years later and about 4 girlfriends later, and he is noticing a pattern. Okay, this is what I do. I try to rescue women. I have them move in with me. I take care of them financially, and then it kind of all goes wrong. So the self-awareness he has is, this is a pattern, and I need to break the pattern. So with my other clients, I might notice this questioning, I'm not fully happy in this relationship. Do I belong in it? Does that mean I should break up with this person? Does that mean I should divorce this person? I get more of that than I get, should I be with this person? Right? I don't get a lot of like, so I met someone and I'm not sure if they're the one, or I'm not sure if I should work with this person or business partner with this person or sign up for this new job with these people. It's more about, I'm already in a relationship that I'm struggling with. Should I get out or should I stay in? And as a coach, my opportunity is, okay, well, clarity on whether they want to stay in it or not. And then, okay, now what? If you know you want to leave, what's the next step? If you know you want to stay, how do you manage that internal struggle of wanting to stay or not?
Des, do you have a favorite question that you like to ask your coaching clients?
Yes, I do. I have learned over 15 years, less is more. These are the kind of coaching questions I used to ask 15 years ago when I started. So, you know that thing you were just talking about? Well, I was wondering what you meant by this. So can you clarify this? And I'm just wondering, can you describe to me what you really mean? Like I would ask these very long worded questions and my client would be like, I'm sorry, what did you just ask me? Like it was just so convoluted because I was nervous, you know, I had anxiety and we talk a lot when we're anxious. And I have now learned, oh gosh, so I might say something like, so, okay, so now what? It sounds so simple, but it's so powerful because what I just said is that they have a choice about what is next. Another one might be, is this a relationship you want to stay in? That is one of my favorites because we are ingrained with this thought that relationships are supposed to be long-term. Cinderella taught us this when we were kids about romance, and somehow we buy into this belief that a long-term job and a long-term friendship and a long-term romance make it better than if it were shorter. And I will say, you know, when I had this best friend when I was little, fifth grade, I vividly remember, I think we were best friends for a couple of years. And we were on her front porch and she said to me something like, so, you know, we just like everything about each other, but like, is there something you don't like about me? And it was such a bizarre question to me. And I was like, I don't think so. Like, I like everything about you. You're my best friend. And she turned to me and she said, well, there's just one thing I don't like about you. And I didn't hear anything she said after that. I was just like, whoa, like there was this like a rejection that was so profound that honestly our best friendship turned into a friendship and then it kind of fizzled out after that. And I was devastated. That was someone really, really close to me. She was so close to me that I took my baby picture from my mom's album and with a ballpoint pen wrote on the back of it like, to Linda from Desiree, and gave her this like 8x10 black and white photo that my mom was furious when she found out that original photo was missing from our family photo album. So this is somebody I really cared about, but in hindsight I'm like, well, I had 3 great years of a best friendship with someone in grammar school. That is enough. It doesn't have to be lifelong for it to be more valuable, right? So I love asking, okay, so I guess I'm not trying to say to my client, oh, you know, you should get out, right? You know, if it's uncomfortable. It's not about, oh, just ditching a relationship if you don't like it. But so many of us stay in relationships, friendships, co-workerships, romances much, much longer than is good for us because we think the value is in the quantity of time we're with them versus the quality.
So what is the magic of coaching?
Coaching is so beautiful because it's client focused. So after 15 years, I'm not bored with it at all because every single session is different, even if it's with the same person. So for example, someone I've been coaching for 5 years, I was giving you an example of, you know, how he showed up 5 years ago. Actually yesterday I was coaching him through messaging. We coach sometimes through what we call texting in social life, but we call it messaging and coaching. And he messaged me something like, you know, this is a really big day for me because I realized today that I never asked for help. And I'm reaching out to you because I need some help. So I knew as a coach that he needed help. That's why I signed up for coaching initially, right? But for him to say, I need help, that to him is huge. And so there's a beauty in seeing people evolve, even if it's slow, and them getting to this place of like, you know what, this is good for me, or this isn't good for me, or I need to make a change, or I think this might be better for me. This is what I really want. This is what I really need. And it's so beautiful to see people transmute that way.
And something that I've watched you do is not only help people uh, evolve their own situation, but you've helped groups of people to improve their life. And you've done some amazing humanitarian work with your coaching. Can you talk a little bit about that, and specifically the RISE program that you,
Sure.
yeah.
I was very fortunate. I grew up with a stepmother and a mother and parents and neighborhood community members that did a lot of volunteering. And I just always had this like, what can I do? How can I help kind of mentality. And when I went to Honduras, when I left the country for the very first time, got my passport, went on a beautiful retreat to Honduras in Central America, I looked around, I was thinking I might see poverty. I might see skinny animals. I might see people begging for money in the streets, things like that. What I was surprised to see in Honduras was, yes, there was some of that. It is one of the poorest countries in the world, but it was so majestic to me. And I could not believe how beautiful it was there. I couldn't believe that people don't go there more often. And, the jungle and the rainforest and the beaches and the mountains. And I was like, wow, I was really, really surprised. One of the things I noticed when I was there was that women didn't seem to have job opportunities. And my first thought was, wow, they could coach. They could coach online. They can coach internationally. They can coach tourists. They can coach pro bono in their communities. And I don't even know why women was just like, I'm a woman, so maybe that's why I noticed it that way. But I just thought, okay. And I asked some questions. A friend of mine on the retreat with me is the Goodwill ambassador to Honduras. And she said, that's a great idea. Let's do that. So we started that 5 years ago. We now have since trained over 120 students in Honduras in the last 5 years. When we went the first time, it was 50 women in a room. Can you imagine? Big room. And the men came out of the woodwork. They said, well, we want to do this too. And so that graduating class, the initial class, oh my gosh, so many amazing things have happened. And they say things like, this changed my family. This changed my community. This changed my life. And that lit me up in a way that was like, wow, what if I was able to open new markets where coaching doesn't exist? Everyone deserves accessible and affordable coaching. And in this case, coach training, that opportunity. Coach training is very expensive. And since its inception 40 years ago or so, we're a baby industry, it's been so expensive to hire a coach and to become a coach. It's been a fairly elitist industry in that way. So for me, I don't think that someone should be held back from becoming a coach if they don't have the money to go to school. I didn't have all of the money I needed when I signed up. I needed a payment plan. I was a single parent. I appreciated that. So I do sliding scales. I do full scholarships in Honduras. So that just started this. I'm not a nonprofit, but I can do humanitarian work inside of my business. So I consider, and my students who do pay full tuition, they have the honor of supporting programs like that we do that do give full scholarships. So it's just a beautiful thing. I go all the time now. I think I've been there 16 times. And I can't, I want to live in Honduras. I took my husband and my son this past year for the first time to Honduras, and they said, can we just move here? I was like, yes, we can. So that's how much we love Honduras. So yeah, I love doing that kind of work.
And can you tell us a little bit about Rise on the Res?
So Rise on the Res, I'm very, very passionate about this. Rise stands for Radiant Initiatives for Sustainable Education. So for me, what that means is, if I didn't feel I had an educational opportunity, maybe to go to college, university, to step into something like therapy or healthcare, education. Coaching is a bridge to that. You know, if you care about people, you can become a coach. You don't need a psychology degree. You don't even need a high school diploma. And the thought, Misty, Diane, my colleague 3 years ago or so, we're in Honduras together doing a training. And we just had, you know, this realization like all age groups can benefit from this, not just adults. So she being a former preschool owner, like owning preschools, we're literally training in a preschool. And she says, well, we should coach maybe some staffers, some faculty, some teachers, maybe some high schoolers. And she started a leadership coaching initiative called Rise. So those students, 33 of them, high schoolers, now in December, 2 months from now, will be graduating. 7 of them have decided to also become a coach, a professional coach. So that's a beautiful program. And that Rise idea extended to North America. Now it's in Southeast Asia. So Rise on the Res is this program on American Indian reservations. And it's a very, very progressive idea. It gives people an opportunity who care, genuinely care for others, to step into coaching, to receive coaching. They hold so much wisdom, and we are all seeking wisdom right now. So there's a beautiful offering that they have that they can coach people to remember who they are. That's the best way I can describe it. So it's a beautiful thing. We're starting with the Oneida Reservation, the nation in Wisconsin. We have a lot of interest, you know, elsewhere. We're doing a program in Canada now and Malaysia now. So it's growing rapidly, and I cannot be more proud of a program I've ever done. So Rise is my passion. Radiant Coaches Academy is the business, but Rise has like risen as, you know, I had no idea 8 years ago when I started my company that Rise was really the passion underneath all of it.
So I love the fact that everything that is created through Rise is something that didn't exist before. You know, you're not teaching people to go in and compete for market share in an industry that already was, but instead bringing new life and new energy to economies that can benefit from it. So it's very inspiring. But I also love to watch you do what you do in action, or to watch you in action as a coach. So would you be willing to play our game with us that we play normally, where you coach and one of us is we answer the questions, you ask the questions, basically?
Yes, I would love to.
Okay, so what are you feeling around that? Because you have all this great intuition. So what would you like to see?
I'm supposed to coach you, Vic.
Okay.
That's
okay.
So, okay, let's put about, 5 or 7 minutes on this one.
Okay.
Okay. So, Vic, how would you like to start your session today?
There's a relationship that we were actually talking about earlier. And yesterday, all day long, it's a relationship that I know I need to let go of. But I'm not sure what letting go of it means exactly. Does it mean that I need to let go of the form that it's in? Do I need to let go of my fixation around it? Do I need to let go of the relationship entirely? That's the uncertainty.
So what might live on the other side of this fixation?
I'm not getting anything.
So sometimes have you ever heard of this concept, secondary gain? We sometimes get a good feeling from a bad feeling. There's kind of like this weird payoff from it not feeling good. So what is the fixation? Let's clarify that first.
Winning someone's affection.
And what does that mean to win someone's affection?
that I was good enough. Mm.
So how are you good enough without the attention of someone else?
Well, so here's an example where there's a conflicting belief with an action and a pattern. So the belief is that I'm the observer in this experience called life, and my value cannot change as the observer. But I can totally see how in this circumstance, it's a game, really. Like, I don't feel like my worth is at stake. I feel like this is a sport, a game. It doesn't actually get to my sense of self-worth, but it is what I just said, a fixation, a game.
Relationships can sometimes feel like recreation,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, a recreational sport of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
So let's think about two different scenarios. Number one, you stay in the relationship the way it is, and you manage what you enjoy and, work as best as you can within it. That's number one. Number two is I'm not in this relationship anymore, and managing that, right? So which one are you gravitating toward more?
Staying in and managing.
Yeah.
And perhaps, dare I say, evolving my perspective of the relationship, staying in it.
You're bringing up such a good point, because in life we have two choices at all times: change the circumstance or change the perspective on the circumstance. So what's your current perspective of this relationship?
Okay, so it's a relationship where the physical affection has not been achieved. And it's a situation where, in my mind, it could happen, but it's not necessarily going to happen. So, what was the question you asked me?
So if you're gravitating towards staying in it,
Yeah.
what is your perspective of it currently?
Well, in this moment, my perspective of it is it's a distraction that is ironically creating some healthy habits and changes. So what's the unhealthy part, and how do I allow this to evolve such that the unhealthy part can fall away and the healthy part can be sustained?
What contribution can you make to the healthy part?
Well, I think it's about my commitment. My commitment of maintaining the healthy patterns and habits that have happened as the result of the relationship.
And what does a healthy relationship do for you?
Enhances my life, enhances their life, makes the world better.
So as you know, so much of our communication is nonverbal, right? So imagine you could whisper a message into this person's soul. They're not aware that you're saying it. They're not even conscious of it. What would you whisper into this person's soul?
Lord, Mm, 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 mm. That's a lot. That's a lot. But I know what it is. I know what it is, and that's what matters.
Yeah. So does that kind of help you see where you are?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Completely and totally 100%.
Yeah. Well, I have enjoyed coaching you for 5 minutes.
And once again, you have done an amazing job. So,
But for
yes.
the audience, I hope you see like, wow, what if that were 55 more minutes in
Mm-hmm.
an hour session? A lot can happen. It really can. And this is not about the coach. This is not about me. This is about what Vic just did.
Yeah, something I'll say too is that what really came to the forefront for me is that it doesn't matter that you as my coach know what my answers are. What matters is that I know what my answers are, and I know what is mine to do, and that's really what we're trying to get at here. So,
Yeah, these interviews are so much about what really is coaching, because a lot
mhm.
of people don't know what it is. So we just showed what it is briefly.
I felt that was deeply profound without even hearing what your whisper would have been. It was just like, whew, wow, so that was amazing.
When
Um,
you've been coaching a long time, there's this part of you early on in my career, I would have said like, oh, I want to hear what that whisper is, right? But I've learned to honor that that is very private to Vic. And he could have said it and, we're not, but I've learned I don't actually need to hear that message. But the fact that it bubbled up for him is so beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I agree. It's given me a shift, which is what I needed.
that's a
I
good.
needed a shift.
So, would you say, like in a session, it's good to know when you don't need to know the answer? Like when you see that change in your client, that's really all that's needed.
Oh, it's so much about getting out of the way. It is so, when we first are trained, I will say I was a natural born coach. When I got into my training, I thought, wow, this is like a fish to water. I'm really good at this. I love this. But I had to learn how to do it, right? There are tools and there are techniques. And I initially, in the first couple of years of training, I thought, I've got to do this and I've got to do this. And I almost felt like I was tap dancing at times and, I want to get it right. And then I just relaxed and I thought, this is not about me. So the human in me is always like, ooh, I wonder what they really are thinking, or I wonder if they're being totally honest. And, that's just putting me in the way of the session itself. So when I surrender, when I relax, when I let go, I see the beauty of their experience and I just get myself out of the way.
Wow, that's amazing. So, Des, we do have a social media question. This question is, I would like to become a coach. Where do I start?
Hmm. I say number one, start with ask yourself why you want to be a coach. A lot of people think they want to be a coach, but really maybe what they're yearning for is coaching. Maybe to experience it first is really the first step. But I would say anyone that truly cares for others is a great candidate to become a professional coach. We are about 45 years old. There are about 300,000 of us professionally doing it on the planet. It's a very young industry, so it's a great time to get in. It's booming right now more than ever, especially because of the pandemic. So when someone decides, maybe I want to be a coach, I would say number two is decide whether you're gravitating more toward life coaching or wellness coaching or business coaching, because those are the main three categories on the planet. And then within those categories, of course, you can specialize and niche down. There's a coach for everything, money coaches, divorce coaches, you name it, right? So I think step three might be find a school that resonates with you. Not all schools are for all students. My school, for example, is very progressive. That's not going to be a great fit for everyone. Find the right school, get accredited hours because regulation is coming for our industry. Switzerland's already regulated, so the rest of us are coming soon. Just so you won't have to go back to school, when regulation comes. And then when you're in school, start manifesting that career that you want as a coach. For me, it was, I'm not going to have a practice. I'm just here to learn how to listen. And I was somewhat flippant about it. I was like, I can't really make money at this, can I? And then I realized I could, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute, I'm going to take this more seriously. And I have a marketing background, so for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to give this a go. 15 years ago, I didn't have social media. So now it's easier to become a coach than ever. So I think, take it seriously, that calling that you feel. I think a passion for coaching is certainly not random. I think it's a calling if you feel it. So I would, really, really question, what is it, am I being of service to others? Is that what my calling is? Am I being called to make a bunch of money? Because coaching is very lucrative. If I have a student, a candidate saying, I really want to become a coach. I want to sign up for your program. I want to get certified right away because I know I can make a bunch of money. I actually might not sign them up in my program. There are plenty of other schools that are great for those kind of students. And my school is a little bit more about intuition work and somatic work and really doing it from a caring, genuine place. So I would just say, be very clear about why you want to become one, pick a great school, and then surrender into the process and have fun.
Sorry about that. So anything else that you can think of, Dez, that you would say about how you do what you do and what your intention is with regard to coaching going forward?
So when I first became a coach, I thought of it as one-on-one, person to person, maybe I'll have an office or something like that. I had a very small idea about what coaching was 15 years ago. And I'm so grateful to that person that turned to me that day, because that person saw something in me that I didn't even see in myself. And now my future thought about coaching, I coach internationally, I volunteer coach, I do a lot of pro bono work. So for me, my eye on the prize is going somewhere like, Taiwan, where coaching is not even a thing. And just kind of landing there and being in a culture where you introduce the concept and you coach train there and you do retreats there. And then the benefit of that is all cultures at all income levels experience the power of coaching. And coaching to me is absolutely the future of how people will grow personally and professionally. And I'm just really, really privileged to be part of it in the early stages of it.
I love that. And I'll just say I feel very, very fortunate to be inspired. Every time I watch you coach, the authenticity of the way that the next question is generated. Let me just say that. You are listening to something every single time you receive an answer, you're listening for the next question. And I can sense that. And that is so powerful. And I just thank you for the inspiration and for the work that you do.
Well, thanks for letting me coach you.
Absolutely. Anytime. I'm more than willing to have you facilitate my breakthroughs any day. So thank you for that. And thank you all for joining us for another episode of Coach Me.
Take care, everyone.
Until the next time.